Welcome to the Bring It On Home podcast. I'm Frankie V, former Sydney and London resident, now living in Nashville, Tennessee. This podcast features interviews with the various characters I come across in my travels through the music heartland of the American South. I have a treat for you on this podcast. I've got Nicholas Abston and Ronnie Crutcher from Hillbilly Casino, the singer and guitarist respectively. This podcast was recorded on our way down to Memphis to see Bryan Setzer of the Stray Cats at Gracelands. Hope you enjoy the show.
You know what's funny is because we've told this story a bunch of times and I feel like people already know it, but they don't, because people are just now knowing who we are. Same kind of thing with like Elvis's origin. I'm like, how many times can I watch somebody be like, oh, Elvis came in and he sang My Happiness for his mom, for Marion Keister, and she, you know, that story, I've heard it a million times, but I still hear it. It's like, dude, who doesn't know this? Like, guess what? A lot of people don't know.
I haven't lived in Nashville. I've only lived in Nashville for 4 years, but you guys have been a steady presence for that 4 years, and you represent a certain style of music. You do it really well, and you have a lot of respect, so I'm curious about, like, 15 years ago, why it started, how it started.
Well, it started back in the 1900s as a dream, as fellas that knew each other, when there actually was a burgeoning rockabilly scene in Nashville, right?
Really, in the 1900s?
Yeah, in the 1900s, back when swing was king. You remember those days? And BR 549 had laid it down on Broadway, and they said, look, Broadway, this is where people are going to come and listen to music and tip bands. And there was Roberts, and there was Layla's, and there was Legends Corner, and there was Tootsie's, and there was Wolfie's across the street. And there was a couple other places that came and went. But Wolfie's, Layla's, and Roberts were where the rockabilly people mostly hung out. But Ronnie's band would play at Legends occasionally. They played at Merchants before. They played around.
What was Ronnie's band called?
Tabasco Cat.
Tabasco Cat?
Yeah. And the Shack Shakers were down there back when the Shack Shakers were.
It was about the same time that I did.
And that was like 94, 95, 96.
No, it was like
96?
It was 96.
Okay, so like 96 to about 2000, I was in a band from Indiana called the Blue Moon Boys. And I would come down and play at Wolfie's. And Ronnie would play at Wolfie's. And sometimes they'd play somewhere else and we'd play the same night. Like rockabilly people would split, but they'd still come out.
Don't forget Harry Fontana.
Harry Fontana was down there before we were. And Greg Gehring, who's down, you know Greg Gehring?
Yeah.
He's been down there forever, just like we have.
He's kind of one of the guys that started BR 549.
Yeah, with BR 549 he started. And like we came down there like 96, you know, BR 549 was on the radio, and I had a friend that came down and explained how cool it was, and I was only 19 and went to Wolfie's, and Harry Fontana was playing there, and I sat in with him and sang Shake, Rattle, and Roll, and like I got a call from the bar owner being like, hey, we want your band to come down here and play. You sat in with Harry Fontana, so Blue Moon Boys would go down there and play, and then we ended up getting to know people, and we got to play at Tower Records, and, you know. And Ronnie was down there doing stuff too, all kinds of places, opening up for Bryan Setzer and things like that.
What were you guys playing? Like Blue Moon Boys were rockabilly?
We were
or
like Hillbilly Casino.
Same sort of music?
Yeah, same sort of thing, but like played less aficionadely, but still like really good, but not with the balls that the Hillbilly Casino has. You know, with proficiency, but without balls. Different kind of balls. You know what I mean? Like just
tennis balls
same kind of
like
energy,
basketballs.
but different kind of vision. I don't know. The Hillbilly Casino is just it's more of a powerhouse, I think.
Who came up with that name? Like, how did that
Hillbilly
come?
Casino?
Yeah.
I did, and Kenny Taylor from the Blue Moon Boys actually came up with it too. Well, I was going to be a DJ at a club during the swinging 90s, play like, you know, Rat Pack stuff, but then also play like Western swing stuff and rockabilly stuff, and call it the Hillbilly Casino.
I gotcha.
Nick Roulette presents the Hillbilly Casino, a night of music. And so when I started, when the Blue Moon Boys broke up, I started a band in Fort Wayne where I just took people that I knew that played roots music, and I played acoustic rhythm, and I'm just like, okay, we're going to do this song, here's the changes, I'd show them on the guitar and just play it. And then some songs we all knew already, so I didn't have to show anybody any changes, so it just kind of, whatever we felt like playing and doing that we felt like we could do, we did. And we had a steel player and everything. And then my Grammy died in Fort Wayne, Indiana, in about 2002, and she left me quite a batch. No, she just left me $10,000. And Jenny, my ex-wife, had moved from Chicago to live with me in Fort Wayne, and she said that if we didn't move out of Fort Wayne, that she was going to move back to Chicago. And at that time, I was doing a thing in Fort Wayne called, it was like American Roots Sundays, where we had like the Cow Singers, we had Hewlin Duvall, we had Reverend Peyton's Big Damn Band. This was back like in 2002, like back when he was just doing You Are My Sunshine, and like, drove the bar manager crazy. Killing me, running out of the fucking restaurant. It's like, this shit sucks, get the fuck out of here. It was funny. And the Shack Shakers played there, and I hadn't seen the Shack Shakers since like the 1900s. So they showed up with like Joe Buck on guitar, and somebody Mark Robertson on bass, and this drummer like just came on there and fucking tore the place fucking down. I was like, oh my god, JD, what the fuck? This is fucking badass. He's like, well, thanks. He's like, we're playing a lot more, and I do this thing called Juke Joint Monday at the Mercy Lounge every Monday night in Nashville. And he's like, I don't want to do. I want to live in Paducah. I don't want to do it anymore. So if you move down to Nashville, you could take over that gig. It pays tips, and I'll give you a bunch of names and numbers of people that play it already, and you just get people to make sure they're there and just go down there.
When did JD move back to Paducah?
I'm not quite sure if it was that he moved to Paducah, but
He's
he
in
did
Paducah
not.
now, yeah.
He did not want to do that gig anymore, and he gave it to me. And so I went in there and did it for about a year, maybe a year and a half, maybe 2 years. I don't know. I don't know exactly how long I did it, but I used it to like assemble the Hillbilly Casino. Other than the first incarnation of the Hillbilly Casino being the band in Fort Wayne, Indiana, it was Dave Rowe and Jerry Rowe and Ronnie Crutcher. That one we opened up for the Cramps.
No
At
way.
the Mercy Lounge, yeah.
No way. You
Yeah.
opened up for the Cramps.
Yeah.
I think it may have been Maxwell on drums for that gig.
No, it was not. It was Jerry
Sure?
Rowe. It was Jerry Rowe. 100% sure it was Jerry Rowe.
Did you get to meet all those guys? What is it, Lux
No.
Interior and stuff?
We met John Bass.
No, it was Bill Bateman.
Bill Bateman,
John
yeah.
Bass.
Yeah.
Damn. What was the scene like then? Was there more? Was there more of a like
I don't think so.
psychobilly, rockabilly?
I think that by the time I was down there, like the Juke Joint Monday was really kind of struggling to hold on, man. It wasn't always packed, man.
Yeah. Sometimes it was, sometimes it wasn't.
And if it was ever a lot of people, it wasn't because they were rockabilly people. They were kind of people. Rockabilly people would show up, you know. It just never took off like it should have or would have if there had been a rockabilly scene, you know. So when Brian Wagner, the guy that handled it, he pulled me on the back deck one night and he was like, Nick, we're going to have to stop doing Juke Joint Monday. And I was like, praise Jesus. I was going to ask you if we could stop doing it because I was getting really tired of doing it because I put the band together, you know. Our first drummer, D on drums, like came and auditioned for us at a Juke Joint Monday. And then for Jeff never played a Juke Joint Monday, but he ended up the bass player in this band. It's pretty interesting.
He was on the road with BR549.
Yeah.
Really? He used to play with BR 549?
Yeah.
No way.
Uh-huh.
What's the guy that is
Mark
now?
Miller?
Yeah.
Mark Miller played a Juke Joint Monday,
Okay.
but Jeff Fireball never did.
Man, Mark Miller was in Nashville that long as well?
Yeah, well, Mark Miller's been in town forever.
The current
I used to
bass
stay
player for
Chuck Mead, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to stay at his house when the Blue Moon Boys would play at Wolfie's. Him and a guy named Mike Younger had a place out with this girl. Outskirts of town, over by Percy Priest, where there's like condos now. The house that they lived in was like totally gone now. It's a memory,
Crazy.
but I don't want to dwell on the past. But that's what we're talking
So
about.
like
right now.
you basically asked Ronnie to join?
Yeah. I guess I asked Ronnie to join.
You're gonna have to talk up.
Chris Casella, they were playing at Wolfie's a lot. And I was playing with Harry Fontana. I was playing bass.
Yeah, he was.
I've been wanting to move to guitar for the longest time. For a minute with Harry's band, I moved to guitar, and Jeff Fireball played bass for a minute. But it didn't really last so long. And I got a copy of this Blue Moon Boys album, Sticks and Stones, from Nick, and I just really loved the album. And I told him, I said, I love that album, and that's the kind of stuff I want to do. I want to do some, rock and roll, neo rockabilly, and just, ballsy music like that. And he had Chris Casello playing with him a lot, and I was like, well, if you,
Wow.
Chris gets a lot of gigs, here and there. I said, when there's a need for a guitar player, let me know. And I think once I started playing with him, it was kind of it. We just kind of, I think we kind of had the same vision.
There's a lot of connections within Nashville music scene. It sounds like, you guys are all very much interconnected. Right? Come from a specific time. That's impressive.
What, I wasn't listening?
Chris Casello playing with you?
Yeah, Chris Casello was the guitar player. It was me and Chris Casello with
Dave
Juke
Rowe.
Joint Monday. Dave Rowe and Steve Latination. Steve Latination did a lot of them.
How many other people that you played with over all these years have stayed in Nashville? How many have gone? Are most of them still here?
Do you want to know who's still here? Or do you want to know who's gone?
Oh, percentage-wise.
I think there's a lot of people that are still here.
Yeah?
I think. I don't know a lot of people that came in. A lot of the people that were here when I got here are gone.
Really?
That were here, but the people that I know that have moved here since I've been here
They're still here.
are still here. Yeah, except for Mark Miller. Mark Miller was here and he's still here. Brian Wagner was here and he's still here. Yeah, all those folks are still here. Bob Wolf, the guy that ran Wolfie's, is not here.
How long did it take for Hillbilly Casino to take off? When was your most successful
I don't know,
period?
but it's still 15 years, right?
We moved into...
Let's say 17 years.
Yeah, we moved. I was playing with Harry at Layla's, and we had this house gig there every Friday night. And then Harry, that was also the same time that this was 2005, and that was also the same time that I got the call to audition for Setzer. But I was playing with Harry, and then I was playing with Nick, say on Saturday nights or whatever. I was playing with Harry at Layla's on Fridays, and then Nick on Saturday at Wolfie's, and then we'd go out of town and play. But I also got that gig with Setzer. So
All at the same time, man. That's crazy.
yeah, so I left Harry Fontana's band and told him, I got the gig with Setzer and that I was going to go play with Nick because I wanted to play guitar. But, Harry's band was, kind of going through some changes anyway, and he was about to go back to Finland for a while, for 6 months or whatever. And so it all worked out. Yeah, it was a fun time, man. And then
You were with Bryan for how many years?
I was with him for 4 years.
4 years, from 2005 to 2009.
Yep.
And it's all Nashvillians. It was
Nashvilleans.
all Nashvilleans.
Yep.
And at the same time, you would moonlight with Hillbilly Casino.
Well, we worked around gigs. And it was. I think it was cool having somebody in a band that played with Bryan Setzer. You know what I mean? It kind of gave you some street cred. And I made no attempt to hide my love for Bryan Setzer and the Stray Cats and all that kind of stuff. When I got that gig, everybody was like, "Man, nobody deserved that gig more than you." And but
How did you get the call up? When you say you got a call up,
my old band Tabasco Cat, we met Bryan in '97 at the Ryman Auditorium. We went and saw a taping, Monday night concerts with Ricky Skaggs at the Ryman, and they had Bryan there. And so we were waiting to meet him at the show. We met him. They did another night with Jerry Lee Lewis and Bryan and Elvis Costello, George Jones, all these guys. And Bryan come over to us and goes, "I hear there's this really cool club in town called 12 1/4, and this band of Cigar Store Indians are playing there." Is that something cool to go to? We're like, "Yeah, hell yeah, that's awesome." So we all went out there. hung out for the longest time, got really drunk. Bryan didn't show up till like we were all getting ready to leave, and then we see him get out. We're like, oh shit, there he is. And so we hung out with him. We watched the Cigar Store Indians and the Billy Goats, another seminal band from back in the day. And we all got up and jammed with them. Jason Ringenberg from Jason and the Scorchers was there and got up and did some songs. Our drummer from that band made Bryan a humidor because Bryan liked to smoke cigars and stuff. So he made him a humidor and sent it to him. And when he got the humidor, he called our drummer up and said, "Hey, thanks so much, blah blah blah." And he goes, "Yeah, we're coming to town. The orchestra's coming to town. We're playing Dancing in the District in Nashville." That was a festival they used to have during the summer, a weekly festival, on Thursday nights. It was really cool. I mean, tons of great bands came through and played it, and it was set right on the river.
So kind of like what they have live on the Green now, or whatever it's called.
Yeah. And it was a big deal, man. It was a free concert. Jason the Scorchers, Big Sandy, Low Straight Jackets, Webb Wilder, the orchestra. When Bryan came out, it was just jammed to the gills, man, all night. But so anyway, so he calls our drummer to thank him for the humidor, and it's like, we're coming to Nashville, and our drummer's like, hey, you know what? They get a lot of local bands to open those shows, if you feel like having us on the bill. And it's like, yeah, man, I'll make it happen. So then we get the call, we're opening up for the Bryan Setzer. We're on the bill. It was like us, this band, the V-Roys. I can't remember who else. But anyway, it went over really well. And so then fast forward to, that was 97. So fast forward to 2005. I come home from, I have my two oldest daughters, actually all my daughters. I took them to piano lessons. And I come home, and that was back in the day when everybody still had answering machines. And I checked the answering machine, and it was a call from one of the guys in Bryan's management. It's like, we're looking for you.
So off the back of your performance.
So what happened was, Bryan did this album in Nashville called Rockabilly Ride, Tribute to Sun Records, and we recorded it at the Castle in Franklin. And the Castle at one time, it's still going. People record there. It was at one point was owned by Al Capone.
What?
Yes.
What the
It
hell?
was like a layover place, because you go from Miami, stay down in Miami and stuff, go to Chicago, this and that. Yeah, it's a really cool place. Anyway, he recorded there, and he recorded there with two of the guys that are playing with him to this day, Kevin McKendry on piano and Mark Winchester on bass. Mark Winchester was in the Bryan Setzer Orchestra for a good while. And he was playing with, the band was called the Nashvilleans. They cut an album there. And then Mark, they booked a tour, and I was still just a super huge fan, and they booked a tour, but for whatever reason, Mark Winchester quit. And so when they were trying to figure out who they were going to use on bass, they could have used Spaz, John Hatton that plays in the orchestra, but I didn't think that back in the day, especially rockabilly was his forte, he was more of a jazz guy. And and this is the story. This is, Bryan's own words to me. He's like, yeah, man, I was trying to think, because there's a guy from Nashville. He was with this band called Tabasco Cats, great rockabilly band, whatever. He goes, let's see if we can find that guy. And so we recorded our album at the Castle, same place he did Rockabilly Riot. And so they called the castle. The castle called our drummer and gave him the info.
That's crazy shit, you know? That, like,
it was
Bryan
coming
Setzer
home. Yeah.
heard you play.
Brian goes, let's
and
try
thought
to
about
find
you.
him. Let's Google his name. Let's find out who he is, and let's see if we can find him. And so I come home with my girls from piano lessons. I turn the machine on, and I'm just like, it was surreal. I was like, wow, man, you gotta be kidding me, you know? And so I put together some videos, you know, a VHS tape. I put together a VHS tape, edited, you know, with me playing with different bands, you know, pictures, you know, back when I was, you know, about 60 pounds lighter. Hillbilly Casino show we did with Juliette Lewis, you know, to give me like...
What, Juliette Lewis?
Were you playing bass on that?
I think I played guitar.
Chris Casella played guitar?
I think I played guitar. I don't remember, to be honest with you. I could have been playing bass, but anyway.
Juliette Lewis.
It was a shot of me and
The Scientologist with the hairy armpits. Yeah.
Juliette Lewis from
The actress.
anyway.
Yeah.
Natural Born Killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
From American Christmas
Why the hell was
Vacation.
she in a band?
No, why not?
You know, she had
good
she
shot,
wasn't
like, she
terrible,
could
man.
sing?
She was her band was pretty rocking. She was all right. She had a lot of energy. So I sent them, you know, and just me playing on little TV things, whatever, blah blah blah. Like on CMT, you know, one of those shows. I was jamming at the Gibson shop at the Aubrey Mills Mall when that was still there, the Gibson shop, with some bluegrass buddies, and I was playing bass and I was slapping bass and stuff like that. I sent them all that stuff, and they're like, they called me back. They're like, we got it narrowed down between you and another guy. So can, you know, fly you out to Palm Springs and audition for Bryan.
Okay, so
So
what
I
the hell
did
was
that.
that like? What the, like, how was that?
I flew out to Palm Springs. I, you know, took my bass out there.
Double bass or like
Yep.
electric bass? Okay.
Yep. I rented the double bass case from Mark Winchester. I actually talked to Mark Winchester, got some advice on the gig and whatever. And I flew out there to Palm Springs, California, and went to this little studio.
Nervous as hell?
Huh?
Were you nervous?
I was, but I was confident in my playing because I did nothing from the time I knew I had the audition till my actual audition. I did nothing but every spare minute I was upstairs learning every song I could, frontwards and backwards, standing on my head, you know. And so I was confident.
Standing on your bass.
Yeah, confident with my playing. And, you know, I looked the part. You know, I make sure I went to the gig looking the part. And so we went in there, and 3 songs in, you know, Bryan goes, "Hey Bernie, I think we found our guy." But then so I'm leaving, and then I see this other kid coming in carrying a bass, you know. And I go back to my hotel. The manager is like, you know, he's like, just wait. I was like, you know, should I hold off telling my wife I got this gig? He's like, well, let's just wait and see what happens. You know, so the guy just, you know, formality. Let's listen. So they do the gig with them, and then like, I think Bryan liked that guy too, you know. And but Bernie Dressel, the drummer, is probably one of the best drummers in the world. Does a lot of work with Seth MacFarlane, plays on the Family Guy, the soundtracks and stuff, and all those Seth MacFarlane shows, Cleveland Show, American Dad. He told Bryan, he's like, you know, I think the first guy, if you want my opinion, the first guy was, you know, the better choice.
Crazy.
So anyway, so I'm at my hotel in Palm Springs, and it's this really like vintage, cool little hotel. And every day they did a little thing where they put out beer for the people staying there, and little food, whatever. And I'm just sitting out by the pool, chilling out. And then I'm out there maybe 10 minutes, And then walks Bryan Setzer and Bernie Dressel, the drummer, and one of Brian's managers, this guy named Neil Schroeder. They just come walking in. Brian goes, "Hey, pal, just thought we'd come here and buy you a beer and tell you got the gig."
Oh,
You know?
cool.
And so I was just like beside myself, just super happy. And we just sat around and drank a couple beers and shot the shit. And that was that. And so a few months later, we went to Europe for almost a month. Had a blast. And then...
But were you always the fan?
Huh?
Like, were you always a fan? Did it change working for him, or were you still always a kind of a fan? Like,
Oh, I was still a fan. I mean, I was probably even more a fan after I played with him, because it was... I mean, it was so cool. I mean, because I really love, his playing and stuff like that. And me and the band, like Kevin McKendry, the piano player, who's still a, very good friend of mine. He's actually the one that hooked us up with these passes tonight. And Bernie Dressel, we got tight, man. We locked in. And we would play off each other. Of course, Brian's there as well. And we were tight. We were a great band. And then so I played on this album that he did called 13. I played. There was a lot of electric bass. There was more electric bass than upright bass. Brian played all the electric bass and is a really good electric bass player. And I think he attempted to play upright, which I don't know that it went over so well. So they got me to do it, and I, came in here and did all my parts in a day or two. And then I hung out and watched Brian cut the rest of his guitar parts, whatever. And we sang on the album.
Oh, you sang on the album as well?
Yeah. We did backing vocals and stuff like that. And then we went to Japan in October, or like late September. No, it was late October, because I remember our last day there was Halloween, and I was a little bummed because I couldn't take my daughter trick-or-treating. But we were there for 10 days. Our last gig was a Japanese TV show, which was really cool. And
is that on YouTube? Can you find it?
I have seen it on YouTube. I actually have a DVD somewhere of me playing on it, or a CD-ROM. It was really cool. And let's see. From there, Brian had moved to Minneapolis, and that's where I did the recording.
Yeah, why does he live in Minneapolis? I think he still does.
Because he was living in Palm Springs. He was just fixing to get married to his wife, to Julie, who's in one of the Vixens in the big band. And so that next Christmas tour that year, they come to the Ryman every year. And
how long has that been going on? The Christmas
time.
stuff, yeah?
Very long time. Probably 20 years, maybe.
Wow.
Anyway, her father passed away, and so when we went and saw him in Nashville, she wasn't singing with him. They got this other girl to fill, sub for her, and she was amazing. I was like, I can't believe they flew this girl in to do this gig, and she just killed it. So her father passed away, and she was from Minnesota, Minneapolis. So she wanted to be closer to her mom, and so I think also that they were, over living in California, the heat, the traffic in LA, shit like that. And so they moved to Minneapolis. Brian lived right downtown in like the old warehouse district or whatever. Had this, really had 2 condos. And so when, we did that album, 13, and then
did you get to write any stuff? Did you write any
no,
parts?
it was all written. They sent me demos of stuff I was going to play.
They wrote it. So he wrote everything, basically.
Oh, yeah. Brian wrote all of it. He did a cover song or two, but like obscure covers.
Did he give you much directions and stuff when you were playing? I wanted to play like this.
Most of the stuff most of the stuff I went in there like it was easy peasy for me, you know. But there was one song that was this really jazzy type tune, and that was not my thing. So I took I made sure I got all the easy shit out of the way, and we didn't really have enough time to do that one song. I was like, yeah. So I took Brian's jazz bass, his Fender jazz bass, to my hotel room, and I practiced that song forever. And I had just listened to stuff that Spaz played on the Christmas albums and stuff, so I thought, I jazzed that shit up like nobody's business. I just made up parts, and I thought it sounded amazing. I get in the studio, and Brian basically, he was very helpful. He's like, he goes, man, just keep it simple, man, stay on the major scale, blah, blah, blah. And it made it so easy, man. It was, he didn't give me shit about it. Like, it wasn't my thing, but we made it happen. That's a song called When Hepcats Get the Blues. But yeah, he was super cool in the studio, really nice, patient, and then so we did that album. We went to Japan, and I'm trying to think here of the timeline.
But it's interesting how hard you guys work for all this, like how hard you rehearse and stuff, and how much effort you put into stuff. I don't think people appreciate.
Oh yeah, well, it benefited the Hillbilly Casino because. So, 2006, that's the year we went to Japan. And Christmas tour is coming up. And I feel like it was John Bruton that was booking the Ryman, am I right?
No, it's Brian Wagner.
Brian Wagner, okay. He called me up and he's like, hey man, want to have you guys. They didn't really have a touring band yet. They didn't usually have their support lined up early in the year. They didn't have one. And so Brian Wagner calls me up and he's like, man, we want you guys to play on the Nashville show, opening for Setzer. He goes, since you play with him, call his management and see if you can make it happen. And so I called his management, and I don't know that Brian's manager was all that crazy about our band. And so I just went over his head and called Brian himself. And Brian's like, yeah, why don't you do the whole tour?
You guys did the whole tour?
We did 7 shows. We did 7 shows.
We should have done the whole tour.
We should have done the whole tour, but
we couldn't.
Certain things held us back. But anyway, we did 7 shows, and it gave us a big bump, man. It really did. Our first show was in Chicago at the House of Blues, and I'm not lying when I say we fucking killed it, man. We slayed that place.
At this stage, Jeff's in the band, right?
Yep. Jeff and Dee on drums.
And all we had was a 5-song EP. And the guy that was selling merch for Brian, I felt like he kind of looked down his nose at us. We all felt that way. And he was like, you're not going to sell that much, blah, 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 this and that. And we sold CDs just left and right. We sold tons of them. By like the second or third show, we show up. He's like, hey guys, good to see you. I got this table set up all for you, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to put your stuff out here. He was super nice because we were slinging them, man, left and right. And we went all the way out to California with him. We played at the Gibson Amphitheater, which is like 5,000 seat auditorium.
Wow.
Played out there, and we broke a record for the most merchandise by an opening act. Like
what?
Yeah, in recent years. I mean, we sold a ton of merch. That's what kept it. That's how we sold
$2,000 worth of merch.
Yeah, $2,000 worth of merch.
And we didn't even really have.
All we had were those
no
EPs, right?
Or anything like that?
No, we had our CDs by then.
Did we have our CDs?
We had Sucker Punch by then.
Yeah, Sucker Punch.
Two different T-shirts.
Yeah, that's our first full-length album, Sucker Punch. Do we have T-shirts? You said?
Yeah.
But yeah, $2,000 worth of merch. That's And we went over well in every city we went to. We played the Ryman. Our second show was Nashville. We played the Ryman, and we play our show, and I mean, we were on fire, man. We play our set. It's like 30 minutes, 35 minutes. We play our set. We're walking off the stage, and we don't do encores. We never do. Like, we never do, okay, we'll do this song for an encore. We've never, ever done that. We're walking off stage, and the whole crowd is, like, standing up.
Ryman Auditorium.
Yes,
The
I swear to
Ryman
God, I'm not
Auditorium.
making it up, man. I'm not embellishing it at all. We got a standing ovation walking off stage, and they were like, encore, one more. And I'm walking off stage, and Bryan Setzer standing on the side of the stage. He goes, "Get back out there, pal. They want you."
You can't write this stuff up. You can't make this stuff
No,
up.
man. We killed it.
That's
Fucking
good.
killed it.
Has that got to be the best gig you guys ever, like,
It was awesome.
one of the
man.
most memorable gigs you played, maybe?
We've been trying to get back on that gig, like, and do a full tour with them, you know, like a full, almost 2-month tour, with no success. He's never had a repeat of bands opening for him, so try not to take it personally, but we feel like if we could get on one more tour with him, you know, it would just really up the ante for us, you know, just really give us a huge push. But it gave us a huge push back in the day. It's, you know, some people will still come and say, "Man, I saw you guys up in for Setzer on the Christmas tour, and you guys blew me away." You know.
So it's funny. It's like the stage. You're just missing the right stage. You've got everything
every
else.
time,
God damn.
It's the story of our life, man. We're always just in the wrong place at the wrong time, but I feel like things are going to change. I feel like things are starting to fall into place because we're all getting older. We're accepting our reality, and I think that I'm not too concerned with that. I feel the band's exactly where it needs to be.
But as we're going into some of these cities, like we did a month-long tour out west. We started in Texas, worked our way out west, up the west coast into the Pacific Northwest, and then come back to the Midwest. And we started seeing people, you know, come to these shows, that longtime fans and stuff. And then, I feel like it was after Seattle, but after we hit Denver, man, every show was just jam-packed. Like, you know, Denver, Kansas City, Chicago, whatever other places. But I mean, you know, it was cool to see the
gigs in Wisconsin.
Yeah, the gigs in Wisconsin.
At Hughes Place, people were like lined up around the block to see it. It
Yeah.
was crazy, man.
So we feel
It's
like
gotta be an amazing feeling, right?
It felt really good, man.
well, for the longest time, you know, we just kept going to the same regions and playing to the same bunch of people and kind of treading water. Now that we're getting out there more, I think there's always people who are like, "When you guys going to come to blah blah blah? When you going to come here and there?" And so we finally started.
The thing that's important is that we need to be playing with bands in those areas that have fans that we can expose ourselves to. That's how we got big up in Milwaukee, like Wisconsin area. We did a lot of smart gigs up there. We opened up for Rancid one year.
Yeah.
And that helped out. Like, we play up there before, we played with Rancid, and like there'd be like 10 or 12 people at the shows. Now it's just like a bunch of people, and added to the people that would see us in Nashville, you know. And then we played at a casino up in Green Bay with the Stray Cats once, and then New Year's with the Low Straight Jackets.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is get gigs like in Texas and in Florida and all over these places, opening up for bands like Bryan Setzer and Rancid and Dwight Yoakam and stuff. And that we don't know how to do that, but we now have a booking agent that is more savvy to figure out how to do that and has our best interests in mind.
Yeah.
I was working at a barbershop. They didn't have my best interests in mind. I'm kind of falling into life where I feel comfortable people having my best interest in mind, and I feel like the guy booking us now does, and my barbershop guy does, and I feel like things are happening because this is the way it's going right now, and I feel really good about life.
That's cool.
Even though I just got a divorce. That's not important for this interview, but
Our name's out there, and you know we pack.
we need to
places
cultivate it more than we're cultivating
Yeah.
it. We're spending too much time going to the places where we know we can do well, and ignoring the places that we've never even been to.
Right.
You know, we're going to go up to New York before the end of the year. We're going to go to Oswego, New York. We're going to go back to Philly. They love us in Philly. We're going to go to Tunkhannock, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Be up in Sheboygan, Wisconsin.
Can I,
Wisconsin.
what, just let's go back a sec. Have you only played the Ryman Auditorium that once?
Just one time.
What
On
the
that
hell?
stage.
What the hell was that like?
It was amazing.
I mean,
It was the coolest thing ever.
what's the acoustics like from up there? First of all, this is when they renovated the whole place.
It was good. I think
It was 2006.
I think we actually, that may have been the place where we had the recording for Shoe Leather that we had.
No, that was at the Universal Amphitheater.
Was it? Okay. Anyway,
Playing the Ryman Auditorium though, man.
there was a lot of great, we played a lot of cool places with Brian. We played a lot of historic places like the
Yeah.
Ryman. We played the
Universal
Fox
Amphitheater.
Theater.
Yeah, the Fox
Detroit.
Theater. We also played like the same kind of theater with Yellow Wolf.
Sure, right.
Yeah. Yep, the
Up
same
in Detroit.
theater. It was a different name.
The Fox. That place in Detroit's pretty. Yeah. And what about Tulsa and stuff like that? Do you ever play?
We never played Canes. I wish we could
We
play
played
Canes.
Kansas City at the Uptown Theater, I think is what it was called.
Favorite place to play so far? It's got to be the Ryman, right?
Well, I mean, for what it was, yeah. For exhilarating excitement, yeah.
I feel like the Ryman. I feel like our best. I don't know. We come out of the gate swinging, man. And we that first show in Chicago.
It was at the
I
House of Blues. That was pretty cool.
I felt like we just
House of Blues in
one of
Chicago.
the best shows we ever did. We slayed it. We really did.
It was fun. They told us we had to dial it back a little bit, though.
Dial it back. What does that mean? How do you dial it back? What,
Well,
you
I had to
like-
leave my shirt on.
Ah.
And all I would do is, I wear like an A shirt underneath it.
What the hell do you eat to like perform the way you perform, man? Because you like
I don't know what I
you're
was
an
eating.
energizer bunny on stage.
It's just a good
excited.
feeling when you get up there, man. You know, the vibe from the music, just rocking it and whatnot. And you're opening for Setzer, you can't get up there and, we're not going to be slouches. We knew we knew we had the goods, man. We went up there and played our asses off. We were a well-oiled machine.
And you kind of kept it and maintained it.
Huh?
And you've kept it and maintained it, and you keep going,
Yeah.
and you sort of, which is like.
I don't think anybody's
Not
ever
easy.
been to one of our shows and go, man, Hillbilly Casino was so boring. They're always like, man,
I
this guy's-
think somebody would say that.
Eh.
I think somebody would say that just to say it.
Well, if they did say it, then it would be just to say it, but
Does the band so the band collectively is influenced by the Stray Cats?
there's elements of that. There's elements of bands like, say, Jason and the Scorchers, and at least for my part, there's a big punk influence.
That's more Jeff. Is it fair to say?
The Ramones,
Yeah.
I
That
mean,
too.
all of that stuff, and we draw from old rockabilly, Chuck Berry, that sort of thing. And then some stuff, I just think it, I don't know, comes from us. Like Jeff and Nick wrote The Hole, and they came up with that music. And it was really kind of unlike most of the other stuff we did. It's one of our most well-liked songs.
Does anything not make the cut? Because like whenever you guys seem to mix a lot of stuff, but it all kind of comes out through your own filter.
I don't think we really do anything. I don't think we cut any fillers, like anything that we think is. I feel like every song that we do, we have to really like it to want to record it. You know what I mean? So we don't record 15 songs and leave 2 or 3 of them out.
There's not a lot of B-sides
I've really,
around.
there are some songs that we don't really play live, but when we cut some of these songs, we're all about them. Some of them just, we have played them, but they're just not ones that, either we're not feeling it live for whatever reason. I don't know. But we still play lots of songs off every album. And we've got 6 albums out now?
Yeah, we got 6.
You got one in the making, or
What's that now?
you got one in the making?
Ronnie's starting to come up with ideas for songs. I'm starting to come up with some ideas for songs. I'd like to have one out by next year, maybe produced by someone else.
And does that make a big difference when you go on tour, having an album to promote?
To sell? Yeah, but keeping relevant. You know, if we had some videos to support, that would be cool too.
Videos are still relevant? Because I see a lot of bands cutting them now, and I'm like, who watches this? Except
who doesn't?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, you know.
I love watching videos of my favorite bands.
Yeah. But like MTV, like.
You ever seen a Taylor Swift video? They're fun.
But do you think for all bands that still applies? Like, it seems like videos are just made because people used to make videos.
I think it's a good way to sell a song. You know, they're like little movies now, little TV shows. I think it'd be cool if there was a thing on Netflix that was like, you go to like a nail salon, get a mani-pedi.
Yeah.
They're showing videos.
That's true.
You sit there, you get a mani-pedi, you get to watch videos, and then you're like, oh wow, there's a video for this song. You just got to like catch people in the right moment to want to watch. Like, sell them the idea that, hey, look, there's a Netflix series on TV that like shows like 7 of the coolest videos for music-wise. Man, wouldn't it be cool to just sit down and watch it?
No, that's a pretty good idea.
Maybe play it at a party or something like that.
You should definitely write to them. You should say that they need a show that's like an old, I don't know, Max Headroom MTV type show.
Yeah, I mean, you could do it. You could do it on like YouTube. You just like put up a Imelda May mix or something like that. But then we just play Imelda May songs until it start mixing in other stuff. But if you could actually put together some artists that people would enjoy together with a little commercial type entertaining thing in between, that wasn't like a commercial but more like a thing that kept you engaged into what was going on, like a little snippet.
Like Beavis and Butthead type stuff.
Yeah, right? like MTV used to be.
And what about Europe? Like
when you're on an airplane. What about when you're on an airplane and you're going to travel somewhere? Oh, look, I can watch this TV show that's like
you're flying to Nashville and you hear like you watch 10 clips from local bands. That's a pretty good idea, Nick.
Why do I have such great ideas and so little amounts of money? Matt's a good idea guy too. Matt Arnn.
Yeah.
And he's actually having him in the band. We've been able to come up with more of the ideas coming to fruition. There's still a lot of ideas that will never happen because we just simply don't have the money. But
I was going to ask, so you have videos?
Yeah, he's been in charge of making those videos.
The video that we did for... he put together a video, mostly live footage for Tricks. She's got Tricks. And then we did a video where it was like an in-studio thing for like Knocking at Your Door, which was really cool. We had a cameo by Yellow Wolf in it, which was really cool. And that was a well put together video. We had Chops McClintock from the Crank Daddies in it, played a really cool part. A lot of cartoony shit in it. It was really fun. I think videos will still work. Reverend Horton Heat's making them still. He just come out.
Reverend Horton Heat makes them all the time.
That's cool. I guess it's becoming cheaper to make as well, right? So it's a little... The tools are...
I'd like to see somebody... You know, this thing's funny now, but like go the vintage route and do a video channel, you know? Video music channel.
Like I was just talking about.
Well, Netflix is like a video shop.
I know,
like when
but
you go into Netflix, it's like being in a video shop. That's how they've designed it. Like, you know, so it's probably not too far off. Someone will come up with
Someone's gonna do it. So,
what's the secret to you guys staying together for so long?
Yeah.
Do you ever think about it? Or I don't want to start anything with Jinx. You give me some wood, man.
Now that you mention it, I fucking hate these guys.
likewise.
No, I think it's just, I think we all know each other offers to each other, and I think we live very symbiotically in the band. I think, each one of us does something that annoys the shit out of another person in the band. Except for Matt. Matt seems to be the least of anybody's worry, probably because he's the newest member of the band. But he gets the least complaints about it. But, I think we know this is what we do, We know that we can all be creative with one another, and we're honest with one another about how we feel about whether we like doing something or not. So,
it's nothing to sneeze at, man.
we all know what we're doing. Like we know each other. I think.
Sorry, dude.
Shit.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry.
They're gonna have CDs, man.
Hey, let me see the one in there that's like a kind bar.
A what now?
It's like a kind bar. Yeah, that's
Pretty kind, man. It was like helping the homeless earlier.
Yeah, it was. I offered something like this to a homeless guy. I pulled up at an exit, and he was standing there looking for money, and I was like, "Hey, you want one of these?" He's like, "Man, that ain't gonna get me off the streets." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Thanks for listening to the Bring It On Home podcast. For suggestions or questions, email us at diamondjive@gmail.com.